Welcome, everyone. I'm super excited to have on today the creator of Litecoin, Charlie Lee. Charlie, how's it going?
Good, I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing excellent. Super excited to have you on. I know there's so many Litecoin fans out there in the audience, so really excited to sit down and have this chat with you. And just to let everyone out there know as well, almost all the questions that I have here today are from you in the audience. So thank you to everyone who took their time to write in questions to ask Charlie. So we're going through a lot of those questions. Hope to get to a lot of them, but we'll see how we go as we go along. But let's just start off actually before we dive into all the Litecoin related stuff. Just what are your current thoughts on the state of Bitcoin?
Um, I think in terms of price, right? I think we're recovering. Uh, Hopefully I mean, everyone's waiting for the price to go back up. So I think, and obviously this year it's the Bitcoin halving, and everyone's thinking about how that would affect the price. So from my point of view, um, I think it kind of like the like when having it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If people think the price will go up, they will buy, and then which causes the price to go up. So I think we'll see some of that play into effect, and maybe like after the halving, we might see people sell the news,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak, and you might see a dip, but who knows, right? But I think there's going to be a lot of price action this year because of the halving, which will be exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And I think was actually a question from Crypto Gamer about the having. So I think I answered that one. But yeah, these having events, people get all hyped up about it, and then it happens. It's like, oh, that's just some computer program executed.
Well, a lot of people say like the halving is priced in because you know about it ahead of time, but the market is participated by humans, and humans are emotional, and they try to fit patterns. So what I see happening, I mean, with Litecoin last year, we saw the price go up quite a bit before the halving, and then after the halving, it actually dropped. I think it dropped quite a bit, um, and that just happens, right? People were buying because they think the price will go up, and after the halving happened, they just sell. Um, we'll see what happens with Bitcoin, but it might follow the same pattern. I think it will, but who knows?
A lot of strong speculation in the market, without a doubt. Now, the next one is about the Lightning Network. So, do you think that the Lightning Network will kind of solve Bitcoin's scaling? And on that as well, I've got a question from a guy named LC, and he wants to know if Litecoin is still on track to participate in the Lightning Network.
Yeah, so I think the Lightning Network will help. Right, it's one of the second layer solutions. Um, I think we'll start to see more people using the Lightning Network, and yeah, currently Litecoin is also has its own Lightning Network, right? So people are using the Lightning Network on Litecoin, but that's not as needed on Litecoin compared to Bitcoin because Bitcoin is more congested. The Lightning Network definitely saves a lot on fees and its instant transactions. We're seeing more and more usage. I'm very kind of excited about where we're going with Lightning Network. It is definitely slow, right? It's taking some time to perfect the system. There's definitely growing pains, which is expected, but I think yeah, we'll start to soon see lot more Lightning Network usage on Bitcoin, and I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, it's quite interesting actually with Litecoin. I mean, it's so cheap to send transactions already on Litecoin. You almost, at this stage anyway, don't need that extra layer. But like I said, it does exist, so it's already out there. It has been implemented. Are there any wallets that people can download if they want to use like a Litecoin Lightning Network transaction?
There are desktop wallets. Actually, we're the Litecoin Foundation. We're working on a Lightning mobile wallet. We're working hard on that. Currently, it's in alpha. I've seen it, but we're still working hard on trying to get that out. But it's there's going to be more and more wallets supporting Lightning on Litecoin, and obviously there's quite a bit of wallets supporting Lightning on Bitcoin. And those wallets, when there's more and more people using Litecoin Lightning, they might start also adding support for Litecoin.
Yeah, it'd
We'll
be
see.
quite easy for them to implement, right? Because there's
Yeah.
similar code bases and things, and
Yeah, and I'm always excited about the possibility of doing like Lightning atomic swaps between Bitcoin and Litecoin. That could be very interesting.
absolutely would be very interesting. Makes so much that interoperability just beautiful to switch between assets the click of a finger. Now, Mark Velasco wants to know, do you still believe in the get one Bitcoin before any altcoin rule?
I do. it's it's not necessarily like one Bitcoin. Obviously, it depends on how much money you have to invest, right? So one Bitcoin is kind of like a rule of thumb, but it's more about, I think, for most people, they should actually invest in Bitcoin first, right? Bitcoin is the king of crypto. It's more of a for sure thing, right? And don't like put all your money into a, a much more speculative altcoin that could go to zero much more easily than Bitcoin can, right? So always be safe, right? Similarly, like I wouldn't tell everyone to put all their money into crypto, right? So same thing, you shouldn't put all your money into in an altcoin without having a decent amount of exposure to Bitcoin first.
That's right. Make sure the kids are fed. Make sure the rent's paid, everyone. You don't need to put it all into Bitcoin. Now, the next one is about regulation, legislation, all that stuff. So this one's from Five Flash. He wants to know what's your take on all this kind of new crypto regulation that we see kind of coming down the pipeline. I know there's a lot of it going on all around the world, so maybe it's too much to comment on everything, right? Maybe there's comment a bit on taxes as well.
Yeah, recently there's some new legislation being pushed out or being kind of created about spending your crypto, right? Previously, whenever you spend crypto, you have to look at your gains and then pay IRS the tax on the gains, which could be very annoying if you're buying, like every time you buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin and Litecoin, you have to calculate how much money you spent buying that whatever point one Litecoin originally, and then figure out your gains and then pay
Yeah,
tax. That becomes practically impossible to do during tax time. So the regulation is about um, if you spend crypto that made less than $200 of gains, then you don't have to pay taxes on that, which is the case for most small purchases. So that would become very useful when you don't have to worry about calculating taxes when you're using Litecoin to buy coffee. I think that would be very beneficial to the whole ecosystem if something like that actually makes it through and people can spend their crypto without worrying about taxes. And it's not a lot of money that you're paying IRS. It's just that to try to calculate exactly how much you owe is just too burdensome.
that's right. It's all these little calculations. Well, I spent $2 on a cup of coffee. What's my tax burden on that? And it's just one of those things that keeps adoption down, right? But if you can have those really easy transactions where you can go out and do those small purchases, not talking about buying a car or a house, yeah, that's still going to be bigger transaction, capital gains, and all that stuff. But really getting people to go and buy stuff with their crypto, I think that's been a real stumbling block. And I know a lot of people in my audience, my community, they've talked about yeah, one of the things that stop them from spending crypto is they don't want to have to go through all the tax burden of every little transaction that they do. Now, we're going to get into the Litecoin stuff, but before we jump into that, I've got one from That Martini Guy. He's another YouTuber, so shout out to That Martini Guy. He asks, would you rather fight an elephant-sized rat or 10,000 rat-sized elephants?
Um, Trying to answer this seriously. So I would rather fight 10,000 rat-sized elephant because I would get destroyed by an elephant-sized rat. At
Be
least
terrifying.
with 10,000 rat-sized elephant, I can try to step on them and kill them all. So there's more chance of me surviving that if I do it like slowly or one at a time.
Nice, nice. I like it. All right, let's get some serious Litecoin stuff here. So, Zach Dolan asks, do you still see Litecoin as the silver to Bitcoin's gold?
Yeah, I mean, I see like originally Litecoin, when I first created Litecoin, the idea was that Litecoin is just it's easier to use, right? Faster confirmation, also lower fees. I mean, it's still the case today, right? Whenever I send Litecoin, it confirms like much more quickly than Bitcoin, right? When you send a transaction, a couple minutes later, it's confirmed, and then before you know it, there's like 10, 20 confirmations on it. With Bitcoin, it's still a bit slower. Obviously, the confirmation on Bitcoin is stronger. There's more security on the Bitcoin network, so there's more money protecting a Bitcoin transaction. But that's the thing with Litecoin, right? You're sending small amounts of money on Litecoin, and you don't need the security from Bitcoin. Litecoin security is strong enough. And with fees, sending Litecoins, it's less than pennies per transaction, whereas Bitcoin, it's relatively cheap these days, but it adds up. So Litecoin is it's silver in the sense that it's still faster and cheaper, and I think that will always be the case.
Nice. The next one's from the Halving Show. They want to know if you think Litecoin will continue to have that kind of 1 to 100 ratio to Bitcoin that we've kind of been seeing. It goes up and down a little bit, but it's kind of been fluctuating around that 0.01 level for one Litecoin to Bitcoin ratio. Do you think that ratio is going to improve over time? Or do you think that's kind of a happy place for Litecoin?
Well, it's very volatile, the ratio, right? It's um, what is it today? Let me check the price. It's 0.00634 right now, right? And it's at the low of the past few years. It's gone to like 0.003. It's gone up to 0. Like one something. It goes up and down. I think the thing is, there's really no like what's the correct ratio. It all depends on what the market thinks, right? It's kind of like the silver to gold ratio. It fluctuates quite a bit, and investing in Litecoin is more volatile than investing in Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the ratio during the bear market, the ratio also drops, so your Litecoin holdings drops a lot more than your Bitcoin holdings, and then during the bull market, the ratio goes up. So if you're holding Litecoin, you actually make more money than when you're holding Bitcoin, and it all depends on when you get in. I don't focus too much about price these days, and don't focus too much about ratio. It's more about just making the best form of money, right? Working on Bitcoin and Litecoin.
Nice. That dad wants to know, who do you see as Litecoin's biggest competitors? Is it someone like Dash, or is it someone like Nano, Digibyte even, or maybe is it Litecoin's biggest competitor, or you're not even thinking about that?
Um, I mean, the right answer is Litecoin's biggest competitor is fiat currency, right? We're all in it together to be a better form of money than the U.S. dollar or all the other fiat currencies out there. And I think they are. I think cryptocurrency is a better form of money, but it's going to take some time before we actually win that war. In terms of like fighting between the different cryptocurrencies, I mean, uh, in a sense, a lot of people look at like the coin market cap ranking as kind of like where each coin stands in its place. So you're always like trying to fight for the next position up that rank, which gets kind of ridiculous. It doesn't really mean much. In the end, the ultimate goal is, do people use the currency, right? Is it used for store of value? Is it used for like payments? Do people actually use it to transfer value,
Mm-hmm.
right? It can be worth like billions and billions of dollars, but people don't really use it for what it's for, like money. Then what's the point, right? It could be worth a lot on the coin market cap just because if let's say someone's holding like someone controls like currency, right? If they hold a lot of the currency and they keep a lot of it off the market, then they can manipulate the price. But that doesn't really matter in the end, right? If no one's really using it as money, then what's the point? So what's important to me is store value and payments. Those are the two most important things on whether or not Litecoin is successful. And currently, I think Litecoin is doing very well. I mean, there's still like a long road ahead, but we've come a long way.
Nice, nice. And that kind of actually really well leads into the next question I have here, which is from Kevin Turvey. He asks, would you rather see people actually out there spending their Litecoin and using it, or would you like to see people just holding on to it to, have that hodl effect for Litecoin over time? And do you believe that price will follow adoption?
Um, I think both, right? I think both are important. Um, if it's what's important is that's useful to people, right? For some people, store value is a useful property of their money, and for others, being able to spend it is the most useful property of their money. So I think both are useful. I think doing both really helps the currency. Um, what your second part is what?
Do you think that price will follow adoption?
Yeah, I do. I definitely do agree. Price will fall adoption, and by adoption, I mean more than just spending, right? I also think store value is a useful adoption metric, which is hard to calculate. But store value and payments are both adoption, and they both really help with price. And it's kind of a chicken egg problem where if the price is not high, if the market cap of the coin is not big, then it's hard to use, right? If for example, if Litecoin's market cap is only $10 million, then you can't really move like a lot of money, right?
Hmm.
If you're really trying to do business to business, they're moving like $1 million, then that's like 10% of the market cap, which is impossible to do if what you're moving is a big percentage market cap. So you need a market cap to be big in order for you to actually daily usage to not affect the price.
And that's one thing that Litecoin's definitely got is really deep liquidity and also lots of adoption, right? There's so many places that you can actually go and pay with Litecoin, and I think that's a real differentiator as well as that it is used, it is accepted as well.
Yeah,
Now,
let me comment on the
yep.
liquidity part. I think to emphasize, yeah, the liquidity is actually really important, right? You need really depth of the order book in order for because in the end today, people still everything is still valued in dollars. People still convert their crypto to dollars. Merchants when they sell crypto, they convert to dollars because we're still in the fiat society, right? Everything's based off of fiat. So in order for people to easily go in and out of crypto, the liquidity is very important. If a coin has no liquidity, it's not traded on the major exchanges or has no depth in the order book, then any movement would cause the price to change a lot, which makes the coin hard to use because you can't have a coin where the value changes based off of your usage. So liquidity is quite important.
Nice. Now, the probably the most common question that I had from the community is why did you sell your Litecoin? Which before you answer, I just want to say I thought you explained it really, really well and were incredibly transparent by letting everyone know that you did. And I think you were very clear on your reasons, but I think some people have been misinformed or didn't know what you said back then. So can you just let everyone know what was the rationale behind selling your Litecoin back in 2017?
Yeah, it feels like every interview I do, this is like I get asked the same question.
And people
But
keep not listening to the answer.
yeah, or they listen to it, but they don't understand it, and they still don't understand why. I'm happy to answer it again. Back in 2017, as my kind of Twitter follower grew, I became a lot more influential, and I've noticed how my tweets are affecting the price of Litecoin, and I sometimes hold back on a tweet because I'm afraid that it's going to move the price, and people might think I'm doing it because I'm kind of just pumping the coin for my personal benefit. And I feel conflicted sometimes, also because sometimes what's good for the price may not be good for the coin long term, right? Like pre-announcing a partnership or trying to pump up the price is not really good for long term of the coin. So
Hmm.
I didn't want kind of my action to be influenced by like me wanting the price to go up because of my own holding of Litecoin. And to be fair, I didn't hold like that many Litecoins to start with. I didn't pre-mine the Litecoins, so I bought them just like anyone else. And so I kind of decided at that point that it would probably be best for me to kind of divest my Litecoin holdings and to focus on working on Litecoin like 100% of the time, but just not having to worry about like my actions, how it will be affected by personal benefit. And financially I was doing very well from Bitcoin and Litecoin, so it's not like it really moved the needle much for me. But it was something that I felt was the right thing to do, and I kind of just decided to do it and just did it.
Yep.
And after I sold it all, and I announced it. In hindsight, maybe it was a bad decision, like a bad thing to do because it caused people to kind of lose faith in the coin. But I think in the end, if Litecoin, if the success of Litecoin depending on me owning it, then it's not really successful anyways, right? It shouldn't. The success of a decentralized currency should not depend on the creator owning the coin,
That's
right?
it.
It should succeed in spite of me not holding the coin. So that's what I'm working towards. I'm still working on Litecoin with Litecoin Foundation full time. This is like 2 years later, right? So
Yeah. There you
um,
go. There you
yeah.
go. I think that says everything. And I think you're never going to please everyone. This is the thing. If you hadn't sold it and you were still holding it, people would just say, "Oh, but you're just trying to pump your bags all the time or something." But I can imagine it must have been a hard moment. Like, this is my baby. Goodbye, babies.
Well, it actually wasn't hard because it was kind of weird, but it wasn't hard because it's not like I'm giving up. I'm not leaving Litecoin. Right? I'm still working on it. So it's just not owning any. It's kind of different, but it's not. It's not. It wasn't hard.
Nice. All right, now let's get into some more juicy Litecoin stuff here. Now, this one's from Jeff L. He wants to know if you are happy with your Miami Dolphins partnership and kind of what that was for anyone who doesn't know about it and kind of how that worked out for you.
Yeah. So last year we partnered with the Miami Dolphins. We sponsored their games. So if you go to the stadium, you'll see some Litecoin advertisement and Litecoin related stuff. And then also, if you wanted to buy the 50-50 raffle, you can spend Bitcoin and Litecoin to buy the raffle, which we saw quite a few people do. Um, it was mainly for exposure, right? To get people talking about Litecoin, and also to get more people spending Litecoin,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think the partnership was very successful. A lot of people heard about Litecoin from it, and that's basically what I wanted, right? Just we wanted more people to hear about Litecoin and to hear about cryptocurrency in general, and start actually using it to see how good it is for payments.
You got to get it out there in front of people and actually create that brand awareness, right? And you know,
Yeah.
if obviously Bitcoin's got the biggest brand awareness, it's been around for the longest, but these kind of things really just you get that name in front of people, and people go, "Oh, what's that? I need to look into that. What's this thing?" Right now, you did something similar with the UFC. I just remember this image of two dudes just smashing each other, and they're right there in the middle, Litecoin.
There's a Litecoin logo on the UFC mat. Yeah, that was like more than a year ago. Yeah, it was December of 2018. Yeah, and that was pretty cool. I mean, that was I guess our first thing into the sports. We sponsored one of the UFC fights, and it got our name out there. People were hearing about Litecoin and UFC, and that's how the Miami Dolphins partnership came about. Also,
Nice.
yeah.
Now, the next one is from Bitcoinove Canal. They want to know how many developers are currently working on Litecoin, and to also talk a little bit about Mimblewimble. What's the state of Mimblewimble currently, and how's that coming along?
Yeah, we have. It's hard to count how many developers work on Litecoin because a lot of developers just kind of work part. Most developers work part time, and we have. Let's see, we have a one full time developer working on that we're paying a few part time developers and then a lot of volunteers. Um, yeah, so not a lot, but we have enough.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Always welcome more developers helping us with Litecoin Core and also with any of the Litecoin wallets that we're working on. In terms of Mimblewimble, yeah, we actually crowdfunded and hired one of the Grin developers to work, David Burkett, to work on adding Mimblewimble to Litecoin. This is something that I'm very excited about. I think fungibility is one of the most important, well, not the most important, one of the important feature properties of money that's missing from Bitcoin and Litecoin.
Mm-hmm.
And Mimblewimble gets us partway there. Um, and I'm excited that we're looking to kind of adding Mimblewimble as a soft fork. So David Burkett is working hard on it. And thanks to everyone in the community that donated Litecoin to fund his work. I'm extremely proud of all the help we're getting from the community.
Very, very cool. Mimblewimble is such interesting technology, and it's. I remember long ago, maybe it was 2018, when you first kind of hinted that we're going to start seeing privacy features being developed for Litecoin, and now here we are. We've actually got there's a developer working on that full time. So Mimblewimble's coming. It's just a question of how long it's going to take to successfully integrate that in a useful way. Now the next one is actually kind of on a similar topic. This is from someone called Gost, and they want to know if Litecoin privacy, so Mimblewimble, is better than Zcash. But I guess the real question is, how do you compare these two, and why choose Mimblewimble over something like ZK Snarks?
Yeah. One of the reasons why, there's obviously trade-offs between the different privacy technologies. ZK Snarks is a lot more new technology. It's not as well tested. But the difference is that what's good about ZK Snarks is that the privacy is a lot better, right? Shielded transactions, you hide like the amount and also the routing of the transaction, which is it's pretty much like perfect hiding, which is amazing. The problem with ZK Snarks is that the transaction size is huge.
Hmm.
So one thing about blockchains is issue with scalability, right? So even today, it doesn't scale very well. So if you make transactions like 20 times, 30 times bigger, it makes the problem 20 times, 30 times more. So the nice thing about Mimblewimble is that it actually scales really well. It achieves a certain level of privacy and fungibility without sacrificing scalability. In some sense, it actually scales better than Bitcoin, Litecoin today, because of the ability to compact transactions, to throw away inputs and outputs. The way it's designed is actually very good for scalability, and it's quite impressive how it works.
Nice. Now, the next one is from Lee00. And they want to know about atomic swaps with Bitcoin. So, where's that in the stage of usability and functionality and availability for people?
Um, Atomic swaps, I mean, it works between Bitcoin and Litecoin, right? So there are tools out there, there are wallets out there that let people use atomic swaps. I think the usability is still an issue because with atomic swaps, you require like on-chain transactions. So you have to wait for a Bitcoin on-chain transaction and you have to wait for a Litecoin on-chain transaction. So it's not instantaneous, and that causes usability issues, and people don't use it as much. But it is being used. I think a lot of people are kind of excitedly waiting for a more kind of more development on the Lightning side of things, right? With Lightning atomic swaps, it would be instantaneous, and I think there will be a lot more usage. But people, you still have to kind of build out the user experience, the UI for it, and also have both robust Bitcoin and Litecoin Lightning Network running and doing swaps between them. So I'm excited about when we'll see more of that, but it's coming.
Nice. And the last question I have for you is from a guy named David over on Twitter. He wants to know, where do you see Litecoin in 5 years?
Um, where do I see Litecoin in 5 years? In what sense do you think he's wondering?
I have no idea. Just what's when you hear that, what do you think? Like maybe I don't know. Probably not price. I mean, who knows where the price is going to be in 5 years? But maybe technologically, where do we see Litecoin in 5 years?
Um, I'm I think we'll definitely see a much more robust Lightning Network on Litecoin. We'll see atomic swaps. We'll see Mimblewimble's sidechain, or sorry, Mimblewimble extension block on Litecoin being used. I'm very excited about that part of it, the Mimblewimble part of it. I mean, 5 years is a long time. Who knows what else would happen?
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it's crypto. I mean, 5 years in crypto is like I don't know, 50 years in regular time. It's wild.
yeah, and then 5 years later, someone else would ask me, "What do I see Litecoin in 5 years from then?" So yeah,
It definitely is very exciting times. I mean, just what we talked about here. I mean, the different things you're doing to get the branding out and the Mimblewimble, the was the atomic swaps and stuff like that, Lightning on Litecoin, like that's all really exciting stuff. That makes Litecoin so much more usable, right? Now it's super usable already. Just to point that out, but all this stuff is just exciting additional implementations that make Litecoin even more robust than it already is.
yeah, and one thing I want to emphasize is that um, all this stuff is cool, but it's not really needed, right? So Litecoin today and Bitcoin today, it works, right? It. The important thing is you're able to transfer value without a central party and without the ability for any central party to censor the transaction, and that's like the key thing, right? It works today based off of those properties. Like you can send like money over the Litecoin network without requiring a central party to help you do that, and without anyone be able to tell you that you can't do that. And I think that's the key thing. And people don't think too much about that with Litecoin and Bitcoin. People are saying like Bitcoin will die if you don't develop on it, or there's always like last year there was a FUD about Litecoin. There's no developers on Litecoin, and because of that, Litecoin will die. But if you think about it, it doesn't really matter if Litecoin today doesn't improve, the software doesn't improve at all. It still works, right? If nothing changes, Litecoin will still work 5 years down the road, right? If you look at like coin like Dogecoin, like the software for Dogecoin has not changed in like 3 years, and it still works very well today as it did 3 years ago. Like today, it's already like amazing how well things are working today. And anything else we do with like Lightning, Mimblewimble, Taproots, North Signature, stuff that like that is just cherry on top.
Nice. Charlie, thank you so much for your time today. And thanks again to everyone in the community for asking these great questions. Charlie, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and thanks everyone for the good questions. They're actually pretty good.